Today I'm going to be talking about how I managed to build a six-figure design business and answer some questions from a subscriber. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Kinsey. I am the brand and web designer behind Kinsey Green Design, and I have been running my design business for over 3 years now. So the first question from this subscriber is, did you go to college? And if so, where? So yes, I did go to an art school. Specifically, it was a year-round art school, and I have a bachelor's degree in interactive media design, which is basically graphic design. I graduated in the summer of 2019, and I was able to graduate fully self-employed because I actually started freelancing on the side while I was attending college full-time. I saved up a little money so that when I did graduate, I was able to kind of go full-time even though I didn't have steady clients yet, and I was still really working on building my business. This person also says, tell us about your college experience, types of school projects, etc., examples of your first project's graphic design work versus current projects. So I will say that I took my design related classes extremely seriously, and I did try very hard because I knew I wanted to be able to go full time, and I knew I wanted to grow my own business. So I wanted to really utilize that time I had in college with professors and classroom critiques to grow and improve as a designer. I'm gonna share one of my first projects, and it's absolutely hideous. So here it is. One of the first projects I ever had for my brand identity related class was to create a chocolate brand. My freshman year of college was a humbling experience because I think at that time I thought I was a decent designer. Not sure why I thought that, but looking at that piece of work, obviously I had a lot of practice to do. I had a lot of improvement to do. And now I actually did redo that project at one point for a TikTok video, and I'll insert that here. So much better. The most helpful thing about going to college for me personally was the critiques and the different creative areas I got experience in. So when I was attending college, I got experience in obviously logo design and graphic design classes, but I also had some classes in film and video as well as professional photography classes, and that did play a role in my ability to grow a design business because I actually utilized all of those skills when it came to marketing myself and really building a brand for myself. I remember my first year starting my design business while I was still in college, I convinced my school to sell me an old Canon camera from the school library for like $40, which it was a really old camera, but at that time it was a pretty good deal. And I used that camera to take my own brand photos in my dorm room, which was also absolutely hideous, by the way. It was like mustard yellow, and it had one window, and I'm big on natural light, if you can't tell. Like, I love natural light. So the environment was hard to deal with because I could hear other people in the rooms around me. People were screaming all the time. When I did do my brand photos and I shared them, I didn't feel confident about them at all because like I was living in an ugly dorm room that I couldn't even paint or decorate, and I was doing everything out of this small little room. Like my bed was here, and then my desk was here, my dresser, and then we had a small little kitchen, which was nice, but that was pretty much where Kinsey Green Design was born. The next question is, when did you start YouTube, Instagram, etc.? So I did start YouTube when I was still in college. There is one video on my channel. It's in my pattern design playlist. And I think it says something like how to properly export a seamless pattern. Actually, you know what? I'll link it right here. If you go watch that video, you will see me in my dorm room in the corner. I have brown hair. I look a lot younger, and you kind of see the background of what I'm talking about and how my dorm room looked in that video. So I did start YouTube while I was in college, but I didn't really do a lot of YouTube videos at that time because I was just really focusing more on growing my design business and getting clients. I also started my business account on Instagram during that time as well, and that's something that I really put a lot of time into, and I made myself post content on Instagram almost every single day, which was a huge part in furthering my education as a designer. So although I was going to college and I was learning at college, I was also doing my own research on YouTube and Skillshare and other free resources. And in fact, I learned a lot of what I know today from YouTube, even though I have a degree. That's also one of the reasons I always encourage people who are interested in design to look at all of their options. I do not regret going to school and getting my degree because it led me to where I'm at today, but I do wish that I was more informed of all of the alternative options. And I mean, at that time, there wasn't nearly as many online courses as there are nowadays, including my own course, the Brief Collective Design Biz Academy that I co-founded for people wanting to get into brand design. One of the things that inspired me to actually start the TBC Design Biz Academy was the fact that when you're going to college to get a degree, they're teaching you things that will help you be a good employee, not a good business owner. And I wanted to be able to provide some sort of course or educational resource for people who wanted to be business owners, not just employees. That's part of the reason I do YouTube. That's part of the reason I put out content like this. And that's a huge reason as to why I have the TBC Design Biz Academy. The next question is, where do you currently live? I am located in North Carolina. I do live in the country. I'm on the countryside. My Wi-Fi is terrible because there are no other Wi-Fi options. I have pet chickens, and I probably live in a pretty unique place for a designer. Most designers I meet usually live more in like the city life, whereas I am in the country. Next question is, are you full-time graphic design? Absolutely. I have never worked for anybody else except for myself when it comes to a full-time job. The only time I worked for somebody else was when I was in high school and I was working part-time at Domino's. As I stated earlier, I kind of knew once I started freelancing during college that I wanted to graduate and be self-employed. I didn't ever want to work for anybody else. I didn't ever want anybody else to take credit for my work. I wanted to be in charge of everything. I wanted to be the face of my business. I also just want to throw it out here that my first year in business was probably the hardest year for me because when I graduated, as I stated earlier, I didn't have a steady stream of clients. I mean, I remember there was a month where I basically had almost zero clients. Like I had one client project and it was for a really, really small amount of money. And a lot of people during times like that give in and apply for part-time jobs. And I mean, some people don't have the option to not give in, but I had a savings account which could sustain me for a few more months if I lived very well below my means. And that's what I did so that I didn't have to go get a part-time job during that first year of me being fully self-employed. I just kept pushing myself. I kept believing, you know, it'll work out. I really believe in the law of assumption. Everything has worked out exactly how I wanted it to work out years ago when I was envisioning this time in my life during college. Making a plan, saving up, and putting actions towards my goals is really what helped get me here today. Next question is, do you work from home only? Yes, I only work from home. I am completely remote. This is my design studio. I do have a little like day bed in here. I think in my next future home in my office, I'll probably have like couches instead, but most of my clients are all over the US. I've had some outside of the US, but I pretty much work with everybody remotely, so I don't need a physical location. And I like being able to just wake up and walk into my office and be at work. The next question is, any achievements or small victories? This past year, my Instagram finally blew up, which I can't believe in itself because I've been posting nearly every single day for over 3 years on Instagram. It's incredible that I've been able to post that much, and I'm just so thankful that it finally paid off. That was a victory for me in itself because I had been working at building that for so long. And now Instagram does bring in a lot of leads to my business, whereas, as I stated, the first few years of my business, that wasn't really the case. And a few other side notes when it comes along with small victories, I'd say some of the highlights in that area are me being able to raise my prices, me having the confidence to turn down projects that I'm not interested in or that I don't think are a good fit, and me also setting boundaries as a freelancer. I think that setting boundaries is a huge thing most people really struggle with when they're just starting as a freelancer. And over these past few years, I've really gotten super good at setting boundaries and knowing, you know, when a client is showing some red flags or when a client is being disrespectful. I'm not afraid to say, hey, you know, this is not how this works. This is not how we do this. And you need to change the attitude, change the way you're approaching this, or we're not going to work together. That's a small victory for me, because so many freelancers start out underpaid, undervalued, and work with people who ultimately take advantage of them. And they're really afraid to set boundaries because they don't want to lose that person as a client and they don't want to disappoint them. And that's something that I experienced my first year in business as well. I worked on quite a few projects in which I definitely didn't get paid enough and I did way too much work for what it was worth. I've also had my work featured on a few buildings. Things like that just make me really happy. I mean, I just look at it and I'm like, I can't believe that I did that. Like, that's my work up there that people are seeing. So that's a really good feeling as a designer. To wrap up this video, I want to say that the main driving factors behind me growing a six-figure design business were the fact that I keep pushing myself to create content no matter what. I am still always learning. Even to this day, I continue to expand my education and try to learn from others because I don't think that we ever can know enough. And I also continue to improve my process, which has really helped me provide my clients a 5-star experience and work with the types of people I want to work with and charge what I want to be charging for the services that I'm offering and provide work that really does help my clients' business and their brand. That is it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Let me know if you have any more questions in the comments, so maybe I can make another one of these little kind of Q&A session videos in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.